to you. Like, I do singers warm-ups. Some people just scream. I try not to do that because it's not really all that great voice. But sometimes if you're playing a scrappy little boy and he needs to be kind of bad, then maybe it's a good thing to scream. It's bad. Don't do that. But yeah, I would say just like singing vocal warm-ups are probably the best because you can go through your whole register from top to bottom. Yeah.
You were mentioning how before how Michiko was different from you know, your typical roles and stuff. I've heard wasn't High School of the Dead, wasn't that also a different role?
That was very different too. High School of the Dead was different for a completely different way. And that is, my characters don't usually have giant upper regions. Because they normally played kiddos. In fact, that was Yukari in Rosario Plus Vampire, that was her whole thing, is that she wanted them. It didn't happen. But, so when I went in to record High School of the Dead, Stephen Foster was the director for that, and he was like, okay, well, I'm going to pull your character up, and they pulled up a picture of Shizuka, and I was like, that's not me, because that's totally you, and I went, boobs! I was like, Monica, and I'm like, I'm sorry, but I'm excited, I never get to play those characters. And now she still had a higher pitched voice, and kind of the Marilyn Monroe thing, and I'm kind of ditzy, and but that was right as Sentai and Seraphim were just, like, if you guys don't know, Sentai and Seraphim were kind of the old ADV, and they went back in the day. And now they're kind of regrouping in different, it's weird. So, same people, but different names and stuff. But when they first started to kind of emerge from the ashes, like a phoenix, everything had to be done really, really, really fast. So I recorded all of High School of the Dead in 6 hours.
Wow.
Wow. Congrats.
There's another show, I can't announce it yet, it'll be announced soon, but there's another show where, and this is ridiculous, and I don't ever suggest it, but I just really was into the character, and a lot of it was not flaps, like a lot of it was in her own head, and it was 3,000 lines, and it was supposed to take 48 hours, and I did it.
Oh my God.
So that's why when people are like, how come Monica Rial is in so much stuff? It's because I am a dubbing machine. I don't know why or how. I think it's because I've been doing it for so long and so much of it that now, like, I almost have like ESP when it comes to flaps, like the little mouth flaps. For some reason, I just talk and they fit. Like, I don't know how it happens. I don't even try. It's like, blah, 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 blah. Oh, hey, it fit. So it's a weird thing, but it does. When you've been doing it more, you get very accustomed to like certain, like syncopations. You know a certain character type. You know when they're going to pause. You know when they're going to do stuff. And if it's a well-written script, that helps.
Habercorn is fast too, isn't he?
Which one?
Todd Habercorn.
Todd Habercorn is stupid fast. I say that he's where I learned to get fast. And I didn't even mean to get fast, but I watched Todd and that competitive edge in me went, must be better than Habercorn! Because the first time I worked with Todd was on Holic. I directed him on Holic. And he used to amaze me because he is Watanuki. I don't care what he says. I know he wants to be some character that's way cooler, but he is Watanuki. And he was able to read Watanuki would just have these monologues of dialogue. And he would read them, and he would even put in the little intricacies of, like, if the character was sitting down, he would read the line like he was sitting down. Like, things that you normally have to tell people to do, and he just got it. And he would do this thing where he would do, like, a page of dialogue, and then he'd go, number 78, la 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 la, number 62. Like, he would remember the line that he wanted to do over again, and then do it, even though it wasn't on the page. Crazy good, but that's the thing too. And that's also too why when you see a lot of the same people, you know, and it's a very small community, and unfortunately, not everybody can do it. I find that a lot of times anime fans with an acting background sometimes have a better chance than people that have been on stage, because you have at least seen it. You know what lip flaps are, you know what things look like, you know what to expect. Whereas people that come from the stage, some people do, they fall right into it and they're great. But I've had great actors that have been on Broadway that audition and are like, wah, wah. So you never know. It's one of those things that it's such a weird skill set that you never know if somebody's going to be good at it or not. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Sometimes people come in and they're great. Sometimes they work their way up. You know? Yes?
I actually have 2 questions.
Sure.
The first question is, of all the characters you've played, which one do you think you're more like personality-wise?
Probably Mayo and Angelic Layers. She really is me. I mean, like, it was so much out of the, I mean, she's 12, so she's not. She would get out of, I would get out of the booth, and David Williams, the director, would be like, "You're not even acting." I'm like, well, I don't have to. It's great. It was my voice, and she would even announce when she had to pee, which is something I totally do. Like, I'm gonna go pee! I was like, oh my god, it's me in anime form. So I'd say that, but I've got aspects of, obviously I love sweets, so there's a little stocking in there. I do have a foul mouth. It's a little more stocking than I probably want to admit. There's a little Haruka stuff from There's a little bit, I mean, here's the thing, and I don't want to sound like a crazy person, and it's going to sound crazy, just go with me. I put a little bit of myself in every single one of my characters, right? I try to have a connection with them. So I really feel that my personality now is a combination of all 345. You know what I mean? Like, they're all in there having a party. Sometimes this one comes out, sometimes that one comes out, you never know. But not in a civil kind of way. Like, it's not like split personalities or anything. But I do feel like every time I do a different character, like, that becomes another part of me and, like, my personality. So sometimes it brings out good parts of your personality, sometimes it brings out good parts. I probably gained 20 pounds on panty and stocking because of cupcakes. Oh god, they're really hard to record with, but I still did it. It was awesome, especially for the fat stocking episode. Because I'm like, well, I need like 4 cupcakes for this one. Yeah, oh totally. We made a mistake one time though. Colleen and I decided to go to this place called Fish City. It's a great restaurant, but we had fish and then ate cupcakes.
Oh.
That was not a good session. It was like, blah, blah, blah. Oh my god, oh. Stay down. So yeah, most of them were not that bad.
I had 2 questions.
Oh yes, I'm sorry.
And my second question was, has there ever been a role that you auditioned for but didn't get?
There's plenty of roles that I've auditioned for and didn't get, but I'm trying to think of any that I really went after that I didn't get. And I think I'm lucky enough that now granted I don't always do my research because I had a near miss at Funimation. Basically the whole reason I went to go work at Funimation is because there's a show Kitty Grey. And back in the day we had this magazine called New Type, and I used to love New Type, and so I would look at New Type and I fell in love with the show Kitty Grey just off of the animation. I was like, I have to be in the show. And so I went to this convention, ACON, this is back in 2001, and they were gonna announce who got Kitty Grey, and I was so excited. I'm like, ADV's got it. I know they do, and I'm gonna get it. It's gonna be great. And then Funimation got it. I was like, crap. I really want to be in that show. And Mike McFarland happened to be there. He's like, do you really want to be in that show? Like, drive 4 hours, want to be in that show? I'm like, yes, I will drive. I want to be in the show. So, fast forward months later, probably 8 or 9 months later, I get a phone call from a lady named Tara. She's like, I need to book you for 8 hours. I was like, for what? She goes, for Kitty Grey. No! And it turns out that Mike McFarland had gone back to Funimation and said, hey, there's this girl that's really interested. And at this point, they'd only done Fruits Basket. So they hadn't really gotten outside of the Dragon Ball world. So they needed chicks. And he was like, there's this girl that's interested in auditioning for Kitty Grey. And he gave him Excel Saga to watch. And was like, watch this. This is what she sounds like. So apparently Justin watched Excel Saga and cast me as Lumiere off of my role as Hyatt. And so when I came in for my first session, I was like, I'm so excited to work with you, Mr. Cook. This is going to be awesome. And he was like, oh my God, you really sound like that. Nice to meet you too. So ever since that time, I was so lucked out that I'm very careful about not doing too much research because I don't want to get attached and then have it explode, you know? There have been a couple. I did my research on my Rin. I had like looked her up and everything because I looked up all the characters. I was like, I'm going to audition for Butler. Let's check out all the characters. I love the maid. And even when I went into audition, Colleen, who was holding the auditions, was like, well, what do you want to audition for? Do you want to audition for, you know, what was it the little girl in cheerleading?
Elizabeth.
This, that. And I was like, no, the maid. I didn't even know her name. I was like, the maid. And she's like, okay. And I did it, and she was laughing the whole time, so I was like, yes. The other one that I can think of is, I just had it, and I had a brain fart.
this a lot.
Oh, now I can't think of it. I just had it and it left. This is what happens when you get old, guys. Take research.
I all my life, it didn't even matter about the age.
Oh, it'll probably come to me and I'll ask another question. Right there.
Are you excited to have heard that they're adapting one of the arcs in Black Butler directly into a new series and then having an OVA that's sequel?
I'm very excited. I love Mayrin! I'm so excited.
I know the arc re-examined Mayrin from when they had talked about her backstory and stuff a little, so they show her being the badass as well as the maid again.
And that's one thing, like sometimes, you know, we stick very closely to the Japanese, but there are sometimes where we make, am I doing okay on time? 145 to 2 payment. Sometimes we make executive decisions that might be different than what they did. Like, you know, the Japanese, sometimes you can't do accents as well just because their language inherently doesn't lend itself to accents very well. So, when I saw her, I don't want to ruin anything, but when I saw her do the thing that she does that changes, I was like, hey, can we try something different? Like, can I change the accent maybe? Or can I use a different tone? He's like, that would be so cool. It was Ian directing. He's like, can you do a thing where you put them back on and as you do it, it changes? And I was like, oh, yes! So it was fun because we were playing with it. Another is Mira Jane. Like, when she does Satan's Soul, she usually starts off like, rah, and then it comes back, but she's still in that form, and she's like, I'm going to fight you. We decided instead for it to stay, rah, and all of her different forms have a different, varied, rah, to it. I'm going to take your question now, last.
Oh, okay. Well, my the theater company I'm with, they're gonna be doing Sweeney Todd. So I kind of wanted to like maybe incorporate a voice. So I was thinking along the lines of Mayrin, if you have any tips for me.
For Mrs. Lovett?
Yeah, probably.
Yes. I think this voice would be fun. Maybe not as much with the questioning and stuff, but if you add that kind of gravel and you add the accent just a little bit, I think that would be actually quite interesting. Because she's an older lady too, so you're gonna have to make yourself sound. But yeah, that's my favorite role. I dream someday. I want to sing a song about putting humans in meat pies. You guys have been fantastic. Oh, I'll do yours real quick.
Sorry, because you brought me with. Do the transmission? Oh my god.
Oh, I would, but I don't want to spoil anything for anybody. So I'll do it for you guys later. How's that? Come find me later and I'll make it.
Give you a hug?
Yes! But let me first say, thank you guys for coming. We have another panel in here at 6:15, the Michiko and Hatchin panel. So we will be back here at 5 o'clock.